Hey everybody! I'm here today to tell you about 13 driving terms that you should know. If you drive a car, and I'm assuming that you do if you're watching this video, or you want to drive a car in the future or the near future, then you should know these driving terms. They're very common, you probably hear them all the time, but you should know exactly what they mean. Let's get right into it. The first driving term that you should know is the A-pillar. Now the A-pillar is actually a structural part of your car. Now, I can't really show you this because the camera is mounted in a set position, but what you want to do is basically look at the pillar that is basically in between your windshield and your front window that is connected to the roof line, and that is your A-pillar. So for me, it's right over here. I can probably just turn the camera just enough. No, I can't. There it is. Okay, so my A-pillar is actually right here. I have my front windshield right here, my side window right here. Here's the A-pillar right there, okay? So basically, it's the pillar that connects, the bottom of your car to the top of your car. And it's the specific one between your front windshield and your side window. The second driving term is actually the B-pillar. Now, you can probably guess where this is. It's right over here. So if you have your A-pillar at the front, and your B-pillar is the next one back. It's basically the pillar that separates the front window from the first rear window. Now, in different cars, you might have multiple rear windows, but it separates the front window, the front side window, from the next window towards the back. This is my B-pillar. It connects the bottom of the car to the roof, to the top of the car. Very simple, okay? Driving term number 3. Now we're going to get into we're going to go a little bit faster because I don't have to show you as much, I just have to explain them. Number 3 is active suspension. So basically, active suspension is a feature in a lot of modern cars, especially when you get into the higher price range cars, that actively adjusts the suspension. So in the classic suspension, you have a set amount of dampening that's happening, and it just stays like that. With active suspension, it electronically will change, how stiff or how soft the suspension is, and a lot of the times it'll do it independently. So each shock will get its own controller, basically, okay? The fourth driving term that you should know is turbo lag. Now, obviously, this is pretty much only important if you drive a turbo car. This Honda CR-V that I'm driving, my 2017 Honda CR-V, actually has a turbo engine. I believe it's a 1.5 liter turbo engine. I'm almost certain, okay? And basically, turbo lag is basically the time between when the accelerator is pressed and when the turbo produces power. The turbo has to spool up before it produces power. So let's say I floor the gas pedal, and I floor it, and it takes like a second before I really feel that pull, that acceleration. That is the turbo lag, okay? The fifth driving term that you should know is transmission. Now, every car has a transmission. I believe most cars have a transmission. Almost every car has a transmission. I believe there are certain ones that don't, but pretty much every car has a transmission. We'll leave it at that. It's basically the gearbox with different ratios. Now, each gear is a different ratio. That's why when you push your accelerator pedal this much, your car will keep going faster, and your engine will keep revving up and down as it switches gears. Just like the gears on a bike, the gears in your car, in your transmission, work basically the same way. So basically, each gear has a different ratio. First gear has a certain ratio, second has a different ratio, third, fourth, blah, blah, blah. The higher the gear, the less acceleration power that you have, but the higher the top speed is. So first gear will allow me to have this top speed with this acceleration. Second gear has a higher top speed, less acceleration. Third gear has a higher top speed, less acceleration. Fourth, just like that. So they work inversely. Okay, moving forward to number 6, the sixth driving term is traction control. Now, in different cars, it's going to be called different things, okay? Whether it's traction control or electronic stability, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, it's basically electronically preventing your wheels from spinning. Meaning you're driving in the snow, you're driving in the rain, you're driving on dry pavement, but you floor it, your wheels want to spin, but the traction control system will kick in and will prevent them from spinning, therefore making your tires last longer and giving you the maximum acceleration. Driving term number 7 is torque. You probably hear this when you're looking at new cars. It has this many pound-feet of torque. So torque is measured in pound-feet, and it's basically the rotational force. So if you can imagine that I have a nut over here, or a bolt, whatever you want to call it, and I actually have a wrench, and if I have 1 pound-foot of torque, I'm going to be pulling a little bit. But if I have 100 pound-feet of torque, I'm like a bodybuilder, just ripping it. And if I have 1,000 pound-feet of torque, I'm like just a very strong person turning that. So it's your rotational power, basically. Okay? Driving term number 8 is the spoiler. On many cars, they will have a spoiler. Basically, it's a body component on the back of the car. Oftentimes, it's mounted on the trunk or, on an area right at the back of the car. And what it does is it changes the direction of the airflow to reduce lift. So, I mean, in regular cars, we have spoilers to help out our gas mileage. They look sporty, but really, we're not preventing our car from taking off into the air. But on like really, really sporty cars, on drag racing cars, yeah, a spoiler will keep it on the ground, will keep the front end from lifting up. So it changes the direction of the airflow to reduce lift, okay? Moving forward to number 9 is a sedan. A sedan is basically a 4-door car. There are more complex terms for a sedan, more specifications, but at the end of the day, if you have a 4-door car, it's probably a sedan, okay? 4-door car, not 5 doors. If your trunk is a door as well, that is, oftentimes considered to be a hatchback, or depending on if it has 2 doors or 4 doors, along with the 5th door or the 3rd door. Long story short, a sedan is a 4-door car, okay? Driving term number 10 is actually going to be redline. Now, you probably hear this. I redline my car. I redline first gear and second gear. It's basically the highest rev of the tachometer. So it's the highest rev that an engine can go. If you look at your tachometer, which is the thing that as you push the gas pedal, it'll go vroom, 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 vroom. You'll probably see literally a red line on it. And that is basically indicating that that is the highest that the engine should rev when it is stock. If you go and upgrade things and modify things, you can probably rev higher. But when the engine is stock, that's basically when you should shift gears at the last possible moment, right? You shouldn't redline your car often because it will cause wear and tear on the engine, but it's good sometimes to open it up so your engine can actually breathe. Driving term number 11 is mid-engine. Now, most cars will have an engine at the front, and some cars, some really sporty, really exotic cars will have an engine at the back. Very few cars have a mid-engine. It's basically when the engine is behind the passenger compartment of the car, but it's actually ahead of the rear axle. Front engine is when your engine is at the front of the car. Rear engine is when your engine is all the way at the back. Mid-engine is somewhere in the middle, behind the passenger compartment of the car, but in front of the rear axle. Okay. Number 12, we're almost done here. Number 12 is horsepower. You probably hear this all the time. This car has 200 horsepower, 600 horsepower, 1,000 horsepower, whatever the case is. That's a lot of horsepower, 1,000 horsepower. Anyways, it's a common unit or measurement of the power of a car. There's a mathematical equation to figure it out, but basically it's how you measure the power of a car. A car that has 400 horsepower is going to be more powerful than a car that has 300 horsepower almost every single time. It's as simple as that. Last but not least is term number 13, which is carbon fiber. Now, carbon fiber is a very expensive, lightweight material, and it's found on many super high-end cars. If you want to make your car lighter while still maintaining its structure, its durability, its rigidity, then carbon fiber is the way to go. You basically have a carbon fiber weave that has a resin around it. It ends up being super flexible, super durable, super strong, but very expensive. And basically, like I said, if you put carbon fiber on your car, it'll look like a weave pattern, but you can also paint over it. So a car might be carbon fiber, but they've painted over to look like a regular metal. So you got to take that into account as well. And that's it. Those are 13 driving terms that you should know. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.